while things might be about to get pretty bad in the very near future, in the very short term, and this is of course reflected in how the market is feeling at the moment, we are heading back into deep fear, approaching extreme fear. As you can see, Bitcoin is topping the trending to the negative side, which is not very good. It's not a very good sign. XRP, I don't know, man. Anyway, let's not go there for now. The reason, of course, being that, there are fears growing everywhere concerning the trade wars, right? New tariffs all over the place. The Republic of Ireland is now being on nice edge, basically, waiting to be hit by the Trump tariff wars. So fears grow ahead of Liberation Day. Basically, the UK, the US, China, no one's safe from the tariff wars, right? And everyone is sort of circling their wagons, building a response. Now, countries in the European Union, I don't think are going to have much of a response against the tariffs, to be honest. I think they're just going to sit down with Trump and work out an amicable settlement. There's a lot of, money to lose from the tariffs from Europe because obviously Europe exports a lot of cars to the United States, notably Germany and Italy with, Mercedes, Volkswagen, whatever, BMW, etc., etc., etc. Fiat, Vauxhall, Opel. There's a lot of cars that are coming out of Europe. And of course, we buy, or Britain anyway, we buy American gas. So as a replacement to the stuff from Ukraine and Kazakhstan and all this other stuff due to the conflicts with Russia. However, while this panic ensues and everyone is selling off all of their assets and getting rid of all their Bitcoins, there are two entities that are buying Bitcoin because they see the opportunity ahead of them. One of them is me. I'm an entity now. I'm buying, not like crazy because of course I've got limited funds. I'm like you guys, I'm not infinitely rich yet. But I am, I'm dollar cost averaging every single day. Little bits, right? Which is the wisdom of dollar cost averaging because, imagine if I had put all of my funds straight in at 2.5, then I wouldn't be capitalizing on this, $2 sort of range XRP, and some very, very delicious Bitcoin and some other alts. I'm even dabbling in some very cheap Shiba Inu at the moment. I'm sure you've noticed I've started doing more Shiba Inu videos because usually during the bull markets, I pick one or two meme coins and I put a nice, slightly higher than normal amount on that. And I think that's going to be SHIB for this run because I see some interesting potentials. Anyway, the other entity, of course, is, banks and governments around the world. Now, this one is quite interesting. A French state bank called Bpifrance has built funds to buy crypto. I read on their website and I watched a video that one of their executives gave in French. And he basically alluded to the fact that they're doing this to, quote unquote, keep up with the United States. So basically, even though, they already were dabbling in crypto, this is one of the OGs. This isn't a new bank, by the way. They of all the banks in the world, Bpifrance is one of the most OG when it comes to cryptocurrencies. They've been dabbling in crypto since something like 2014, I believe. And they collaborated and worked with Ledger, actually, way back before most people even heard about crypto. So they're an OG when it comes to cryptocurrencies, right? They're not new. But this strategy that they're doing is new and is directly influenced by what's happening in the United States with the digital reserve strategy. And if, France is doing this, I'm not saying that France, the country, but this is a company in France, a bank is doing this. Best believe that there are, others that are not talking about it in Britain, in Germany, in different countries that are following suit based on what the United States is doing. Because like I always say, all of these countries, they want to keep up with the States. They want to if possible, front run the United States. And also the United States doing this gives some kind of legitimacy to the process, right? It makes it more legitimate. The IMF doesn't get on people's cases as much. If the United States is shown to be doing it, then other countries can point to the US and go, hey, look, the US is doing it. Why can't we do it? And also it gives the legitimacy to the banks to go ahead and do it themselves. So we're going to get, like I said, countries doing this on the national level. We're going to get banks doing it. We're going to get states doing it. We're going to get companies doing it on the company level, right? So just quickly, France state-owned investment bank Bpifrance plans to spend up to 25 million euros on little-known cryptocurrencies in a bid to support France's crypto business, it said on Thursday. That's the critical part. So this is a kind of a strategy that is France first. So it's almost like the French version of the America first. So this isn't Bitcoin per se that they're going to be buying. Bpifrance already holds a chunk of Bitcoin, right? So it's not like they're buying Bitcoin like BlackRock and all those guys. No, they are deliberately going out of the way to buy little known cryptos. Why? Because they're based in France. They are French based cryptos. Okay, the bank has previously spent 150 million euros on investments in blockchain related projects, including limited amounts of investments in cryptocurrencies. But this is the first time it has created a fund specially to buy cryptocurrencies directly. Instead of purchasing large cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, the fund will be targeted towards buying smaller, newly created tokens issued by French projects before they are listed on crypto exchanges, said Arnaud Cadeau, deputy CEO of Bpifrance. The US is really accelerating its own crypto strategy, so it is all the more important, Cadeau said, adding that Bpifrance's move into crypto started before the pro-crypto shift in the United States. Basically, he's saying, look, we're the OGs. We've been doing this even before you guys even heard about cryptocurrencies, right? Which is true. They've been around a while. Bpifrance could also help token projects get listed on the exchanges. That's quite interesting. Bpifrance initiative is a strong signal of our determination to make France a country of excellence for these technologies, said Clara Chappaz, right? France's minister delegate in charge of AI and digital affairs. There has been a revival of interest in cryptocurrencies since US President Donald Trump's election win in November. Trump has expressed support for the industry, sought to overhaul and even launch his own crypto products. European finance ministers, however, are concerned that the US's embrace of cryptocurrencies could affect Eurozone monetary sovereignty and financial stability. He said that the US policies were attracting crypto companies to move there. You see, this is what I'm saying. A lot of these countries are going to be like, hey, we're going to start to lose investment and companies to the United States in the same way that the United States was losing all of their companies to places like Dubai and Portugal. Now that the United States has suddenly become crypto friendly and there's a potential of like tax breaks, etc. for crypto companies because of Donald Trump, a lot of these European countries are now concerned that some of their investors are now going to move to the United States because, to be honest with you, the United States is, for most European companies, a better place to move to if they can get tax breaks, if they can get favorable conditions, right? They'd rather be in the United States than being in Panama or like in Dubai. People would rather be in America, from Europe anyway, these companies, right? So if they can get the tax breaks, they have access to the US manpower. There's a lot of programmers. There's a lot of developers over there that are excellent. Obviously, there's a lot of rails already. There's a lot, right? And if the president of the United States is putting his administration behind this, then it's very attractive. So the European companies would have to make a move to balance this out, right? And of course, it means that these authorities here in Europe are starting to sing a different tune themselves. They're worried about the integrity and sovereignty of the Eurozone, but now they've got something to worry about. They've got the power of the United States government, the power of the United States treasury and money and all that sort of stuff to contend with, right? We have great engineers and great companies in Europe, including in the UK, obviously, and we want to keep those companies here because we strongly believe that it is very important in the future to have our own ecosystem. Kodo said. Okay. So, like I said, she's worried that we're going to lose our developers or even people who would have come from elsewhere, perhaps from India, Africa, China, wherever, to the UK, to Europe, to contribute to existing infrastructure and manpower in terms of developers, will now look more towards the United States. So the US will also be attracting better quality talent because of their favorable environment. The European Union in 2023 introduced the world's first set of comprehensive crypto regulations requiring crypto companies to be authorized by the EU to serve customers in the bloc. Bpifrance is jointly owned by the French state and the country's public lender CDC and invests money to serve French public policy objectives. France's financial minister last week announced that Bpifrance would launch a 450 million euro defense-focused fund. Yeah, the Europeans are rattled, man. Donald Trump has opened Pandora's box, and everyone is scrambling everywhere to keep up and to follow suit. So yes, we have these trade wars, we have the macro events that are causing the current conditions in the market, but it's only a matter of time before that is resolved. Yes, in the short term, I'm not going to lie, things are looking pretty bad for all cryptocurrencies across the board. Bitcoin is holding up because it did this massive run earlier on last year. But, the other tokens that were just recovering have basically been downtrodden by this. There hasn't been a rotation of that Bitcoin money into altcoins just yet. That is still to come. I showed you how, coins like Shiba Inu look like really, really interesting. Our Crow looks incredibly interesting. It's still almost 90% down. Even now, when we're already in the bull market, most altcoins of that caliber have at least recovered 50% to, towards their all-time high. But Crow is still 90% down, which is absolutely insane to me. So it's one of the coins I'm picking up, not financial advice. Do your own research. Yeah, things are looking bad, but good times ahead. Okay.